Hello? Welcome back once again to Escaping Dystopia. This is episode 120. Today is July 6th, 2024. It's been roughly 2 years since our previous episode and our hiatus, which was kind of fun, kind of nice. I liked it. I was doing a lot of stuff, had a lot of fun. We are going to be talking about some things today, boys and girls. First things first, let me see if I can find a nice story for you, a little bit of art on some of the stuff that's been happening. I have a new website I'll be featuring quite a bit on the show. Here it is. It's called Haiku the News. It is a generative AI-driven media analysis and whatnot website. There was a big forest fire out there. I was looking at some of the art it does for the heat waves has been just rocking because our media doesn't like to tell people how bad things might be in some sense. But sometimes things are a little rough right now. All right. Need to prepare these a little better before we get going. All right. So suffice it to say, in the 2 years since I've done a show, the Earth has gotten warmer. A little bit warmer, and then warmer. And it continues to do that in ways that I don't find particularly comforting, personally. This is a story we'll talk about here in a little bit as we go through some of the fun art. There were a number of Supreme Court decisions, or I should say, yes, in various states that were quite fun. These are all some of the art that gets generated from these stories. The way this process works, it will analyze a news article, generate emojis sometimes, or a poem, or a story, and then art based on that itself. The hurricane season has created some great stuff, and some of the fires. Each one of these also, here we go, yeah. Emoji's not screwing around. Here it is. This is my favorite guy right here. Look at this guy. Yeah. So that is, I don't think, yeah, so I just got the MP3 working. So a lot of these now, the way that they work is they generate this, and then I have an AI read us the story. So let me see if I can get this one for you.
In the land of political jest.
And let me go ahead and make sure we're going to pipe that to the right place, because again, I keep forgetting. We'll go ahead and restart it. We've got a nice little thing here you can mess with. And now we go.
In the land of political jest, Biden's debated, not at his best. The pundits all rave. Don't let Joe misbehave. Is the media Trump's secret guest? This selection was performed by Alloy, an artificial intelligence.
So the question here, and this is the same thing.
Media's big push, Biden debates in twilight, past mistakes haunt minds. This selection was performed by Shimmer, an artificial intelligence.
This is nice. This is actually not a bad little Robot Pirate Ninja one. Pretty snazzy. Anyway, this is about the media's absolute, complete, and total obsession with trying to give the Democratic Party advice. So for those of you unaware, the Democratic Party has a primary, and during that primary, they then select a nominee. Once that nominee is selected, that's who it is. All right, moving on. It's so weird because they're like, well, are you going to stay? And he's like, yeah. Are you going to stay? Yeah. Are you going to stay? Yeah. Are you going to stay? Why are you going to stay? And it's just gotten so ridiculous. So this is, by the way, if you're there on the website, by the way, this is live. You want to take it out, haikuthenews.io. You click more up here and this slides down, and then you can see some of the information here. I'm not sure if I want to make this do something. I changed a few things. Anyway, these are links then to the piece, and then you can go read this in The Guardian. This is a good piece from Rebecca Solnit going after this, the pundit class, which has just going so hard on Biden. I don't know. I really, at this point, I'm a little confused about it. Sorry, I was just looking to see how long this thing is. I'm going to try and keep these around 10 minutes, just so you know. but they've been going so hard, so much at him, and there's been a lot of other things going on, and this is one of the things that's curious about it, right? This is these are fun, right? Because this is this meme of Michelle Wolf calling out the media, right? And right, and so then it'll take that and be like, oh, here, let me explain to you.
So, this nice lady named Michelle
She's
Wolf
very
is saying
nice.
something interesting. She's talking about a man named Trump. She says that even though he tried to sell a lot of different things like food, drinks, school, clothes, and even his own son, he couldn't get people to buy them. But she says Trump did help sell other things like newspapers, books, and TV shows because people talked about him a lot. It's kind of like how a big story or game can make people really interested and they want to know more about it. So in a funny way, he's helping make those things more popular. Michelle is saying that even if people don't really like him, they still talk about him a lot, and that helps them in a different way.
So
This selection was performed by Nova, an artificial intelligence.
So I got to fix some of the interface up there too. Yeah, I mean, this is not a new thing. It was not unknown. The Biden years have been very sparse for cable news and cable media. Remember, when Donald was president, he would watch cable news all day long. They were some of the most important people in the world, some of the most influential people in the world. They would have cabinet members, come on cable news so they could tell Donald something. That's how crazy and bad it was. This, by the way, is a story about the Epstein files that were released. Again, this is out there now. The media is not talking about that. It's talking about not talking about Donald's age either. He can barely walk, by the way. I don't know if you've seen him. There's this video. Oh, man, I have to see if I can dig it up from here. I need to find a few of these before. I posted it on my my page. This, by the way, is pretty funny. There's this Project 2025 that's coming out that people are starting to learn about, which is essentially this is Donald's plan for fascism from the Heritage Foundation. It's a ridiculous. Go read it. You don't have to they're gonna take it down pretty quick because it's just so horrible and unpopular. But this is all like conservative fantasy land stuff. All these guys work for Donald. He's all over the plan. Half of his administration is working. He's like, I don't even know about it. And then some of the media, by the way, was like, oh well, he said he didn't know about it, so I guess we're just gonna move on. By the way, if you're not aware of it, and I've written about this a little bit, Axios was bought by Cox. Cox is owned with Cox Enterprises, Cox Media Management Group. Apollo Enterprises is what owns them, and that's a Trump donor. So if you're wondering why Axios is being like, blee, 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 that's why. I mean, again, if you look at who owns CNN now, people still think it's like the nice old, Western guy in the hat, and it's not. It's one of the most ridiculous, cutthroat, horrible people in cable news, and that's who runs CNN now. So, and the Washington Post is run by a former Rupert Murdoch guy. New York Times is run by this just really kind of very, very arrogant nepo baby who thinks he was born into being God's gift to publishing. So the media landscape that people think exists is very, very different than what the one actually exists out there. So some of the other big news from this week.
Starliner delayed, docking issues to resolve, crew waits safe in space. This selection was performed by Echo, an artificial intelligence.
That was the Starliner, right? The Boeing thing that was delayed and all that. It actually is not doing well, and they're stuck in the space station. This is again should be this should be something that the media is focusing on all day long. What are they doing? How are we getting them out? What's going on? What happened? Nothing on cable news about this really interesting science story. These are some other colorful ones. Oh, by the way.
In Gaza, where crises collide, aid workers must take it in stride. Delivering aid, they're often waylaid, yet persist. They just won't be denied. Through blockades, they valiantly cruised, but red tape has them feeling abused. Despite all the trouble, they burst every bubble. Emerge in SEA aid, they're enthused. This selection was performed by Alloy, an artificial intelligence.
By the way, this Emergent SEA aid is because I've told it to try and do puns as joke. That's why these are called LOLs. I tend to throw really serious stuff like, aid workers being scared for their life out there.
In West Bank's embrace, land seized amidst old tensions, peace fades in twilight. This selection was performed by Echo, an artificial intelligence.
Yeah, so this is also going on in the world right now. These are stories from the last few days, right? And this is again all stuff that our media is not covering because they're doing stuff with Biden. This is a fun one. This is this guy I follow on the Twitter, James, about artificial intelligence war, drone swarms and shit. That's gonna be crazy. Sorry, I don't even want to talk about that. But you can read it if you want to go there. There's a volcano exploded. That should be news. Cool art there. This is actually the other same story. I've got a geolocator on here. The AI is extremely adept at picking up location signals. I mean, it's 100% for the cities that I've thrown at it. I have it so it draws. Let me see. So you can see. Oh yeah. So this like I said, I just fixed some of this uploading stuff this last week. This is at 00. It also opens up like straight into Google Maps at the location. By the way, if you haven't messed with Google Maps on the desktop lately, it's pretty snazzy and has some abilities. So anyway. But yeah, I've got a geolocator on here, like those dudes who look at photos or whatever and tell you where on the earth it happens. This is based on an idea I had a long time ago, and that's really going to be these uploaded photos. If I can get a whole bunch of people to upload streams of sunsets around the world, you can have this constantly flowing stream of the sun setting around the earth, which I think is kind of conceptually beautiful. And anyway, I built an interface here that can do that. I'm gonna need some help, obviously, with that. This was really cool. The Earth's core has slowed so much it's moving backwards. This is a really fun article to read about, and just kind of understanding that we have a sense of what the heck's going on with our planet. Again, cool news. Wasn't really covered much because, Biden is old. And there was a shooting up in Yellowstone. I guess that's a little bit bigger. I'm in Colorado, by the way, if anybody's curious. Oh, but also this is the big thing about the election that some people seem to have forgotten, but abortion rights and Rovember are going to be huge on the ballot. And the notion that Joe Biden this is what's been interesting on this subject too, because Biden is what's called an imperfect messenger on abortion, because he personally, I'm pretty sure, is against it, but he understands the need for and the rights out there that we need to get restored here in the country after what Donald and the 3 felon appointed justices did by taking away rights from Americans, like one of the first times in history. And it won't be the last, right? By the way, the Supreme Court is completely and utterly out of control, which I haven't talked about. I'm coming up on my self-imposed time limit by a little bit, but the Supreme Court. Oh, this was the other thing. The Supreme Court is just out of control. What they did about Donald's immunity was insane. I was really, really, really looking forward to Donald being sentenced here on July 11th, which was his original sentencing date, and then the judge paused that. I'm sure I've got a story on it, so I covered it a few times. Yeah, there you go. He's trying to overturn the verdicts.
Courtroom battles rage, seeking to overturn fate. Verdicts on the line. This selection was performed by Nova, an artificial intelligence.
And it's one of those things that just blew me away, right? Because, and then they've got some more the stories about Epstein and some of the other stuff. But he was supposed to be sentenced on July 11th, and then the Supreme Court comes out and says, well, you can't really, presidents. And it's like, in the Constitution itself, it literally says that they can be impeached for high crimes and misdemeanors. And now they're like, well, but yeah, you can't use evidence. And it's so odd, because the Republicans before, who cleared him of the impeachment, we're like, well, he can be held trial for criminal, and now he is, and they're like, no. So I'm really curious. September 18th is the next real big day for that. That's when the Judge Merchan reset the sentencing hearing date for Donald. So that was supposed to be this next week, which has allowed this ridiculous tempest of Biden step down because you're not a rapist felon, but you're old, just to go on continuously. I do think, though, the public, for example, is really turning on the news media, trying to just tell them what to do and think. Voting is a sacred kind of, special thing for Americans, and having this, no, your candidate can't be there, right? Especially, it's, I don't know. I have a degree in this, in like mass communication and these things. I've been writing about this stuff for 20 years, following this stuff for a long time. There's a reason why I built an AI generative news analysis website, and it's not because I'm perfectly happy with the state of affairs, right? Things are in a weird place. I'm gonna keep doing these shows. This gives me a good way to do it. I've got my little newsreader here, so I don't need a talking head, right? These are my anchors, my art directors. I've got a bunch of them. So if you're interested, follow me here over on the Twitters, Robot Pirate Ninja. That's me doing my thing there. I'm having a lot of fun with this. So I will see you around next time. We're going to call a wrap on episode 120 of Escaping Dystopia. My name is Wall. Peace out.